and welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be talking about hangboard training on an introductory level, what it is, the benefits, form, and general guidelines. Hangboarding is a form of finger training where you hang from your fingers on a fingerboard tool. There are various edge sizes and hold types found on different hangboards and allows for measurable variables to be manipulated, such as the amount of weight you hang with, the hang duration, and the rests that you take. Without getting too nuanced, hangboarding can be thought of as strength training for your fingers. Hangboarding helps to train the fingers by strengthening their tendons and ligaments, as well as building the connection between the nervous system and the fingers, aka neuromuscular recruitment. This in turn allows you to use smaller holds, pull harder, endure longer, and recover easier. Training your fingers in a controlled and measurable environment can help prepare them for the variability of moves on the wall. You're able to control the progression of your program, measure your results, and adjust your protocol as necessary. Many protocols only take 15 to 20 minutes and can easily fit into training routines. Additionally, you can choose your protocol based on the specific adaptation you'd like to elicit from your training. The number one way to reduce your risk of finger injury is volume management. Volume management describes understanding and managing the total stress you expose your fingers to. This not only includes hangboarding, but also any and all climbing you do. Some important factors to consider include the volume, intensity, and duration of your climbing sessions, the hangboard protocol you use, and the rest and recovery you take between sessions. Hang form is not very complicated. There are just a few key points to hit. The first is to engage your shoulders. To do this, think about pulling the chest up and creating space between your ears and shoulders. You'll also want to hang with straight elbows. Lastly, maintain a neutral spine. Especially as you add weight, you'll want to engage your core and try to not let your back arch. There are a few things to consider when choosing which grip types you'd like to train. The first is relevance. For example, if your goal is to train for outdoor climbing, there's no reason to train monos if the outdoor climbing in your area has none. If you won't be encountering the grip on the wall, there's not a ton of utility to training it off the wall. In contrast, let's say your project requires full crimping. It could be beneficial to train that grip in a controlled and titratable environment. There's a flip side to this, however, and it's important to remember the volume management that we discussed earlier. You may also want to train a grip that you find challenging and would like to incorporate more in your climbing. For example, let's say you default to the open hand crimp for most of your climbing, and you'd like to feel more comfortable using the half crimp. Training the half crimp on the hangboard can help you build confidence and strength in that grip. As mentioned, there are a number of different holds and grip types you can use on the hangboard. We'll quickly discuss three common ones. The first is the four-finger open hand. The hallmark of this grip is that all four fingers are on and the pointer finger is at an angle greater than 90 degrees. This is a more passive grip and is useful when you need to hang with straight arms below a hold. It's good for when you're trying to relax or use less active force. This grip translates well to big edges and slopers. The next grip is the half crimp, where the pointer finger is at 90 degrees. This is a more active grip and is useful when you need to pull through moves or feel more engaged. This translates well to smaller edges and pinches. Lastly is the full crimp, where the pointer finger is at an angle less than 90 degrees. This is a very active grip and is useful for pulling very hard. The thumb may wrap over the pointer finger in this grip. This translates well to very small edges and edges where you really need to get behind the hold. To finish up, I want to talk through one of the number one questions I get about hangboarding. When is it the right time to start finger training? Specifically, should someone who's new to climbing consider hangboard training? As with any training, this decision is very individual. However, there are two main things to consider. The first is climbing training age. Depending on how new you are to the sport, you'll be gaining finger strength from climbing itself. Finger strength is typically not going to be the limiting factor in your climbing. The more important thing to focus on will be learning movement and getting familiar with climbing itself. If hangboarding is going to take away time on the wall, you'll probably not want to sacrifice that climbing time for finger training. Ava Lopez, the creator of the Max Hang Protocol, recommends having climbed 2 years before beginning hangboard training. This is not a hard and fast rule, and again depends on the individual, but it's a good ballpark guideline nonetheless. Another general benchmark is to be able to hang body weight on a hangboard for around 10 to 15 seconds. Given this ability, you'll be able to perform and benefit from most hangboarding protocols. There are certainly tools available if you aren't able to hang body weight, such as utilizing a tension block or using a pulley system to take weight off. However, if you haven't reached this benchmark, you're likely still in a place where you'll be gaining finger strength from climbing itself. And remember, it's important to keep in mind that the fingers can be sensitive to the volume of training we expose them to. If you're particularly new to the sport, it could be worth waiting to begin training. If you hit these general guidelines, then finger training can be an excellent supplement to your climbing. Next week, we'll talk more specifically about choosing a protocol for your goals. Thanks so much for watching.